Now we review The Penguin, Episode 6, Gold Summit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen the 6th episode of the Peacock series, The Penguin. Is it? No. I don't remember series The Penguin. I rely on people who actually pay for these things. I can't afford to pay for these things for this channel. Really wish I could, but I think in the last month I've made like $23. Anyway, so I could probably afford one streaming service for that. So, in this episode, you essentially have two stories. You have the story of the Hangman and her alliance with the other major crime family, and then you have the Penguin and his attempt to distribute Bliss, the new drug that comes from mushrooms. Some time has passed since the first episode, or since the last episode, and he's gotten his production back running again. And what happens in the first 5 minutes is that, the Hangman hangs some men upside down after, I believe, slitting their throats and cutting off their pinkies. And these particular men are distributors of bliss, giving the criminal underworld the very clear distinction, or the very clear message: work with Oswald Cobb, and you gonna get dead. See, so then the Penguin has this plan. Let's give the drug away for free so everybody wants it, and the gangs can't resist the amount of money they would make selling it for us. Anyway, for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from the company 4Ocean. 4Ocean then pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you would be so kind as to comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world. Anyway, so Gold Summit. Gold Summit actually refers to a meeting that takes place at the end of this episode, and taking place at the end of this episode is this huge meeting between the Penguin and a number of crime bosses. That's not terribly important. What you see in this episode is the more human side of the Penguin. I think that they didn't bulk him up as much. He seems to be a little thinner in this episode. It could be because of the people he's standing next to, but Colin Farrell is still... I could see him under the makeup for the first time. But the makeup is still incredibly excellent. And you get more of an insight into the Penguin as a character. He was incredibly careful in much of his dealings. I don't want to spoil anything, but you heard a lot about what was really going on with the Penguin and how he interacted and how he sort of, kept things close to his chest. Really liked this guy as a character, and he does some defending of poor people. It's in his own best interest to do this because it's him taking care of his mother, but, it's one of those things is that his interaction as a mafioso with the government, it's one of those points that has to be understood, is that the American government knows about the mafia. And the mafia often bleeds into government. It's like, hey, you want to get elected? Well, we tell our boys who to vote for, and we pay for your election propaganda. Just remember that. We want our guy in there. If you're going to be our guy, we're going to help you. If you're not our guy, well, we ain't going to help you there. So my accent in that is terrible. I really need to work on that. Anyway, so you see a lot of the inner workings. That's what's truly interesting about this episode. Also, Victor as a character, for those of you who are unaware, Victor was a character that Oswald Cobb, not Oswald Cobblepot, picked up in the first episode. He has been sort of his right-hand man ever since. They kind of know each other, and they could put dirt on each other. In this episode, one thing that does happen is some of the dirt comes off. You have to watch it to understand. I don't want to spoil that for you. But Victor is coming into his own, becoming a very different person, a stronger person. You know, and he is seen as a very sympathetic character because of he stutters, and he's from a poor background, and he lost almost everything in the Batman movie. And here he is. He's just trying to survive. He's trying to push it. And in surviving and trying to push it, he's actually having to really step up. So he is not a centerpiece of this episode because you don't see a lot about him. And his is almost a C story. But it's a very important part of his story arc. So as I say, The Penguin is an excellent show. I really have enjoyed it. It's dark, it's gritty, it's strong. And this particular universe of DC, which is a strong variation, it still begs the question, where is Batman? He was around in the last episode. You would think that he would be busting up drug production or something like that. I mean, there should either he went underground and he's not being Batman anymore, or somebody should be talking about him. I mean, it's just, there would be grumblings of the Batman at least. So that's kind of a point that I have to, you look at that and you're like, what's going on there? But that's not that important. I mean, maybe in this universe the Batman's just not that great of a character. So yeah, Oswald Cobb has become very sympathetic, and the Hangman still ruthless as hell. But one of the things that is becoming the point, so to speak, is that this is a conversation between rich and poor. That's what's going on, is that we are going, it's between the people on top, like the politicians and the Falcones, and the people on the bottom. And that, it is questionable because the triad is not people on the bottom. They're rich. Some of the people that are part of this, they're not like the top organized crime lords. They're the lower organized crime lords. But, that's one of those things that the Penguin is essentially representing, is the common man in this, which is not entirely against his origin stories. I mean, some versions of Batman, the Penguin was born into nobility, and some versions he wasn't. So it's just one of those things. Is that, yeah, this is a different flavor of Penguin, and it doesn't matter what the backstory is, so long as it's done well, and it is done very well. So yes, this episode of The Penguin belongs very high on your watch list. It is an excellent piece of cinema, and I recommend it to anyone. Anyway, that's just my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard. Greetings, humans! Your old pal Randall here again, reminding you to comment, like, and subscribe. You see, I got my bracelets from Ferocian, and I got another medal from the Conqueror. Yeah, look at that, see? That's got an Easter Island head on it. Because if you can't afford to go to Easter Island, you can go and walk Easter Island virtually by going to the Conqueror. You could not screw up the environment by traveling to Easter Island. You could just get this, plant 5 trees, and then walk on your own and learn about Easter Island, because I send you postcards. And if you comment, like, and subscribe, you can help the guy that owns this channel buy things like this so he can plant trees, and buy bracelets like this from Ferocian so he can pull trash out of the ocean and make a better world for you. And it isn't going to cost you anything. So don't you have something to say? I mean, shouldn't you in the comments down below say how grateful you are that this man has planted so many trees and pulled so much trash out of the ocean and did all those good things for you? No? Ungrateful human? I should eat your face!